So what the Shine program does and what it does well is it cleans up communities.
It gives people maybe a purpose that they haven't felt in a long time.
Shine is one of those programs that's part of a toolbox that I have in the courtroom.
It changed my mindset, I'm not gonna lie.
If you want people to truly succeed, then you have to be creative.
It's such a great work, that Shine is doing.
I like being involved in something that's helping Oklahoma City.
It really sparked like a light in my life.
And it gave you the opportunity to give back to your community.
There's a lot of great benefits to this.
And this is the right time for Shine.
So people ask me, what is SHINE? It stands for Start Helping Impact in Neighborhoods Everywhere. And that really does sum up everything that we do. We work out in the communities doing all kinds of things. It started off with those being sentenced to SHINE in lieu of jail time for community service. And then a little bit after that, we created the Students for SHINE program. So any student before graduating either high school or college can do 100 hours or more of voluntary community service. They get a distinguished graduate cord at commencement they can wear and a certificate they can have in their portfolio. And then we've been able to join forces with a number of people in the neighborhood associations, 4-H kids, we have master gardeners and now businesses. And I have never dreamed that we could do as many gardens as we have because of all the participation that has come from so many different walks of life. And then recently we started Citizens for SHINE. It's just encouraging those in the public who want to come and give back to the community, and they have taken on even more innovative projects that have really expanded our impact. So actually I was elected about 14 years ago already. It's hard for me to believe, but we were immediately dealing with an overcrowding situation in the jail. So I went to the courts and asked the judges if they would consider sentencing them to us instead of jail time so that we could reduce the daily jail population and go out and confront what was beginning to emerge as a real graffiti problem here in the metro area of Oklahoma City.
It's a very rewarding program. We have people that call and they have a problem. It's either trash or graffiti or weeds growing up, something, we can't go on private property without permission, but other than that, we can go help. We take care of their needs as we can. We're actually helping the community, helping the individual, and helping the system because of the problem that we have at the jail and it being so overloaded. These are low-level offenders, that have just made a mistake and need help.
My ability as a court to be able to sentence them to a program like SHINE, will reduce the population of the county jail, because if they're not in DOC, they're over at the county jail, they're serving time. So this gives them the ability to reintegrate and see how their work can affect others and that they are a part of a larger community, while during the week they can still work, maintain their employment, support their family, and have that hope of being able to have a start again.
I got into trouble that I wasn't looking for, I was nervous and scared, like, oh man, my life is going to get taken away from me. But then they gave me this opportunity. The judge saw and gave me this opportunity. She picked it for me and I was ecstatic. I said about like 6 times, I'd rather this than jail. I'd rather this than jail. Jail is not a life for me. I'd rather pick up the streets than be in jail because that's no life for no human being, I would say. It has made some big changes as far as like how I was thinking and how I was feeling about the state, because there's good everywhere. If we all took each other's hand to help each other do something, pat somebody on the back and influence the next person to do better, that's a rub-off. You influence one, that one influence the next, that one influence the next, and it keeps on as a cycle. And I want to be the best person that I know I can be because God sent me here to be a great person. Just take a chance on people, I would say.
SHINE affects every person who volunteers, assigns people to it, or is a part of the program, benefits from the daily gratification coming from doing something better to your community. No one needs to be in county jail if they're not a danger to themselves or others. Because when we incarcerate one person, we incarcerate their family. We are affecting the next generation. So when you have SHINE program, then you have an opportunity for a positive interruption in that cycle and be able to hopefully save the next generation. When the stakeholders are at the same table and they have that buy-in, then we are far more creative and innovative with solutions.
I preside exclusively over a criminal felony docket. I have about 4,000 open criminal felony cases that are pending that are assigned to me. And many times I think that the better option is, instead of sentencing somebody to 6 weekends to serve in the custody of the Oklahoma County Jail, instead taking those same amount of hours to be completed with the Shine Foundation program. I've actually experienced it firsthand. I've gone out on the weekends on my own time and worked with the Shine crews, met with participants. It was really moving to me to hear participants say things like, what I really enjoy is showing up to a Shine job site and taking a photograph with my phone of how things look before we start. The next day I pick my kids up for ice cream and we drive by and I show them and I say, this is what Daddy did. The Shine Foundation is something that I'm just a huge believer in. It works.
But the Shine program is one of those alternatives to kind of open your eyes. It is a stepping stone, because I don't want to go back to jail. But man, a lot of people that are in jail, I mean, they need a second opportunity. They need a chance. They need a different program like the diversion of, Shine or other entities to give them alternatives. It's the old cliche saying that giving is better than receiving, because it helps you more. And man, actually experiencing and doing that it's real. It could change cultures. It could change society. One little small step, I guess, and could really make a huge impact for a lot of people.
It gives people maybe a purpose that they haven't felt in a long time, starting to see a path forward that doesn't lead to the county jail.
As a member of the jail trust, I see this being very positive because, the ultimate goal is to lower the occupancy in the jail, the people that we don't need to be there. I believe in putting people in jail that deserve to be there, but there's some people that there's an alternative that we can use. The Shine program offers that alternative. We can, one, accomplish this great work with the Shine program, cleaning things up and cleaning our community up, but two, we can limit the people who are put in the Oklahoma County Detention Center. And so this is a win-win for everybody. Not only are they working off their time, but they have ownership in the community, which will make it better on the end of their term.
So the folks that I've had the opportunity to work with Shine or even at my own place of employment that have stumbled, they have a different spirit now, and they see that they are able to come into a community and give back. But I hope that they take that spirit with them into the next place of employment or community that they live in, work in, because they were a part of something that made that community nicer and better for everyone involved, including themselves. Just because you've made a mistake in your life doesn't define you. There's a lot of skill sets out there and a lot of skill sets that we need. It's my hope that at some point I can hire some of these folks, on my staff. So I think it just builds goodwill all the way around.
Well, they're really a champion for our town, our neighborhoods. I've called them on specific things I've seen or that have been thrown in our alley behind our shop. We become a magnet for old tires. We've had a graffiti problem they get rid of. They do this all over town. I think Shine is a good implementation, a good first step maybe to help things out. And that benefits everybody, benefits this city, this town, these communities, these neighborhoods, and business owners.
I'm a small businessman. I own some property close to Northwest 10th and Pennsylvania Avenue. I've been given citation, several times by the city for picking up all the trash, which is not caused by me. Mattresses, wooden pallets, clothes, shopping carts also. It was so difficult for me to move. First time I had to pay like $2,100, to just move the debris, from there. When I find out about Shine, I called them. They really came and they cleaned up. It was really a big relief for me, financially. It was amazing. I was really happy with it.
If you leave a broken window, what happens from that to our community? If you leave something like that, it attracts crime. So when you clean that up, just think of all the things it eradicates. People are proud to be there. People are taking care of it. You can see if anything has been damaged because it's clean. It allows us to investigate when we know, hey, this is out of place, because I know what it looked like before. So it helps on many fronts.
I have historic buildings in downtown urban core of Oklahoma City we've rehabilitated, and they have litter problems in the alleys. They have graffiti problems on the walls. We reach out to Shine, they paint over the graffiti, they go into the alleys, and there's piles and piles that would fill up a dumpster of just people dumping trash. And you call Shine and they come pick it up. Shine is remarkable in that Shine was doing criminal and justice reform 10 years ago, before we were talking about here. So all these community programs that help our neighbors improve and thrive and feel valued, they're important.
The people that are really out there working in this program generally experience some sort of a gratification for a job well done. It's of course hard work. Most of the time, they feel good about the contributions they're doing. And so I think that they understand when they're out working on a graffiti abatement about how the cost of the business that's been impacted or the home that's been vandalized, and that becomes very real and very personal for them. You're not just driving by something that's been all painted up. You're actually seeing how it impacts people. And so they really are feeling the positive impact of what they've been able to do to help lift up the community and those individuals who have been in particular vandalized or victimized. So really, I didn't have the vision for Students for Shine. That was an employee who worked for me at the time, Safari McDoulas, and she said, you know, if we could ever avoid somebody from going down the wrong path in the first place, that's what we ought to be focusing on. And so she thought that Students for Shine would be a good concept to put them to work for a blessing in the community, and it was a huge, huge success. And you know, really, Safari only got to work with the program, sadly, 10 months before she was tragically killed in 2012. And now 10 years later, to know all the number of thousands of students who participated in her program, I'm sure she is beaming down with great pride. Brandy Mertens, in honor of Safari, she took that on, and she has now done it for a decade. And I think that Brandy has had leadership where she has built the program far beyond even what Safari's very capable vision ever imagined it would do.
Hi, I'm Jody Miller. The Shine Foundation has done wonders to clean up our communities. Students who do 100 or more hours of volunteer work in the community receive a distinguished graduate cord from the Shine Foundation that they can wear at their commencement ceremonies. The amazing thing is Students for Shine have exceeded everyone's expectation, and most don't stop volunteering once they reach 100 hours. Through the funds raised for the Shine Foundation, not only are the cords paid for, but also the insurance to cover liabilities and pay for critical supplies needed when doing a beautification or community building project. I salute these young people, and I'm so proud to be a part of this fine organization. They're really making a difference in this world.
I've been involved in Students for Shine for all 4 years of high school. It was really life-changing for me. It really sparked like a light in my life, you know, knowing that it wasn't all just about me, but it was about so many other people in this world. And from all these experiences I had from Shine, I was really able to take stories from that and put it in my college application process and describe who I am as a person and what I learned and how far I've come learning what being a part of the community is.
My pathway to Shine was through volunteering. When I was at OSU OKC on my associate's degree, I started volunteering with required 20 hours. I think I ended up doing like 260 hours total. It's what actually led me to where I'm currently at, because I ended up hiring on a month later at their front desk there at the day shelter. I found that my passion was in serving people. There's so much value in going and serving somebody else other than yourself. It's invaluable. If it encourages anybody like me to seek out options to serve other people, I got nothing but positive things to say about it.
Students for Shine was so rewarding. The majority of my volunteer hours and community service hours went with my school and in my local community in Hera, and I also got to help serve lunch at our local senior center, and that was so cool to get to speak to our veterans and learn more about them and their stories and serve them since they spent so long serving us. And you leave feeling so blessed and like they made a difference in your life more than you did in theirs. So Shine definitely opened my eyes to the community.
When you see how innovative and how dedicated they've been and the number of selfless hours they've given, we even had some that were starting to do 12 and 1,500 hours. We have a record setter that's done 1,800 hours. It's impossible to walk away from a commencement exercise like that and not feel very inspired about the future generation. And then recently we started Citizens for Shine.
County Commissioner Brian Maughan and I sat down, and we're excited to be able to partner on the Citizens for Shine program. At Daily Living Centers, we have been able to do over 11,000 volunteer hours.
I'm really excited about this. You know, when Jessica Clayton for the Daily Living Center came to me and said, you know, we're not students, but we feel like we have an opportunity and we can give back also, and it started me thinking outside the box.
So Daily Living Centers is a nonprofit organization. We are Oklahoma's largest and leading adult daycare provider for senior adults and adults with disabilities ages 18 and older. It's an incredible opportunity for us to be able to partner with the Shine Foundation through Citizens for Shine in order for our participants who may have some type of disability or dementia to be able to have the opportunity to give back.
It has really opened my eyes to help other people and not always helping yourself.
We were able to partner with Dignity Memorial in order to get flowers, artificial flowers, to recognize veterans. And we were able to put those flowers out on veterans' graves, and it just provided an incredible sense of purpose and joy for all of our participants.
It was a really cool experience to go out and to put flowers on the veterans' graves for the veterans that have passed.
And the kind of projects that they've taken on with both working in the veteran cemeteries and also working with helping other nonprofits, and they're using that as keeping track of their time and their hours. And you know, I said really the only thing I could offer is a certificate.
Brian comes to our centers to be able to recognize our participants for their amazing work.
But in many cases, I think a lot of folks have never been recognized for all the selfless work that they've done. And as meager as it is, I think that just mere recognition has meant a lot to people.
It feels really good to be honored like that. It's a privilege to have a certificate given to you by the Shine program.
And so I've never taken for granted anymore about just taking a simple approach to saying thank you to these folks who have done so much. And I tell them all the time, you know, local government could never do all the things that you're helping us empower to make a difference. These great ideas have found me. I'm not really the visionary for so much of this. I've just been very blessed to have people reach out and say, I think we can connect with what you're doing. And one said person was Susan Bergen, who came. She's a philanthropist in the Norman area of Oklahoma. And she said, I'll finance the gardens, meaning I'll pay for the plants, the rich topsoil, and a gardener to tell us what to do. And then you find a public space where counties are lawful to work on and a water source. And we were able to partner with Oklahoma City Schools, with some of the other cities and their parks. We started with 3 gardens in our pilot year. We're now up to 10.
With what we do and with what Shine does, we're just a perfect match. We have a garden coming up. The Shine program will be involved in it from the raw ground to the end of the garden. I brought the equipment and the materials. They help install it, plant the seeds, shape the ground, water the seeds, and get to stand back and look at their work. And instead of sitting there and just watching the clock tick away, they're getting to get out in their community and help the communities that they might have made a mistake in. And they're getting to go back out there and give something back to their communities, literally planting the seeds and watering them and shaping the garden.
We became connected with Shine, who then asked us if Buchanan might be a place to install a community garden. So our students were able to actually put plants into the ground and to have their hands in the dirt. You know, all kids love dirt, all kids love water, so for them to be able to actually do that, and as every day went by, they walk by that every time that they go to recess. And so they were very curious about how they were growing. It fits right into our curriculum. It gives them a very concrete idea of what that means to watch a plant grow, what a plant needs, and that there are other adults in our lives that help us and that we work together as a community, and that's what's important.
and then just, of course, neighbors in each of these communities who have reached out to us and said, hey, I want to be a part of this.
We go about every other day, and if it needs watered, we'll water. And like I said, we pick up trash and stuff like that. And I think we utilize it for school, and it's also to help them learn responsibility.
I get to help out with Shine and specifically the gardens, and Brian has used me to go out and scout different locations. I get to meet wonderful people, the teachers, the principals, the coaches, and one of the best things about my job is no one is against gardens. It's a win-win in so many different ways.
So Charles walked into our office and was like, hi, I'm from the county, I want to put a garden in. And we were like, heck yeah, we've been wanting to put a garden in for a long time. So we put it in probably the last 2 weeks of school, and our kindergartners were super excited. They got to go dig in the dirt, they got to plant the plants, and that's really what we want to do with our kids. We want to teach them sewing, we want to teach them cooking. We want them to be successful adults as well as students.
I appreciate the county, I appreciate the Shine for reaching out to us. In the past, we've had benches that were donated for people who had died, and they were tore up within 3 days. And so I had a fear of our garden being here and being destroyed. But as we sit here 3 months later, if you look at it, it's nice, it's green, and all the plants are there. People in the neighborhood could show pride, and they want to take care of it.
I go to all the surrounding houses and hopefully get to sit on their porches and talk to the residents about what we're doing, so they're just not seeing something going on and not know it's theirs or not. And once you see the excitement in people's eyes, it's contagious.
I got this letter from the Shine Corporation saying that there was a garden in my neighborhood and you could come and work in it or whatever. So I decided, well, I'm gonna go see where they put that garden. I just been up here about every day and watering. I don't have to bring my own hose anymore. Somebody needs to help me gathering okra, because I'm getting too much of it. I had the cantaloupe seeds in my refrigerator. I don't know how long they'd been in there, since back when I was growing my own garden. So I decided to plant them, see if they come up, and sure enough they did. I enjoy working in the dirt, I guess. I was raised on a farm. I lived on a farm out in southwest Oklahoma. I used to be really active, but it's getting where I couldn't hardly do anything anymore because I was just sitting around not doing nothing. So getting out up here and doing a little exercise, I'm feeling much better. I've had 2 open heart surgeries. I've been told that I'm not supposed to be here. Evidently the good Lord had something he wanted me to do yet, or I wouldn't be here.
We found that these gardens work when it comes to bringing communities together, because it empowers people, it lets them know people care, and it teaches the younger generation how to grow food.
Well, I think it's a fantastic idea. I think our kids need to learn that kind of stuff.
The community gardens is one of those projects that Shine does that really attracted me to the program. I believe that there's something about working out in the gardens and with the soil and just watering and watching plants grow. It gives hope, and it gives these defendants an ability to bond with each other and with the community, to grow that ability to be able to function and want to stay a functional and contributing member of our community.
This program, and with these judges and their interest in this program, I believe it will make the world a difference. You're going to leave with a little bit of shine in you, because look what it gave you. And it gave you the opportunity to give back to your community. To me, it means we're going in the right direction. It means we're not just talking about it, we're doing something about it.
Now parents are taking their kids out and showing them the positive things they've been doing inside the community, and in particular these gardens that can really be something that their children can be a part of. They can say, we planted this a few weeks ago, now it should be about time to go out and start pulling some of the strawberries off the vines and stuff like that. And what do you mean I can have it? Yeah, we can all have it because we went out here and did this. And so I think that for parents and children that are affected by these circumstances that put them in this program, that's a non-quantifiable. You can't really determine how much that's been helping heal a family in addition to uplifting a community.
Well, I was introduced to Shine
by the way of Brian Maughan, of course, and I thought it was wonderful. And I asked if I could help and how could I, and he wanted to use me in concert, which made me very happy. Many other country music artists have joined in to help any way they can. For instance, Merle Haggard, Chris Christopherson, Jody Miller, my best buddy Norma Jean, other ladies in country music have all joined in and they're helping. You know how it is when you get women involved. We're the get her done bunch. So we're currently raising money for an endowment because we like this SHINE program. We do want it to be self-sufficient.
So we had to go out and create the SHINE Foundation, where we actually raised the money for this program. And we've been able to get different grants, but by and large, a lot of people help finance it with a small $25 check, or some people have given one large contribution. It has just meant the world to being able to go out and do this. And actually now we've created an endowment which is approaching very near the first benchmark of what we were hoping to reach, which was $1 million goal. And if we can do that, it will permanently fund one crew, and it's taken a government program off the grid so that it can actually work without being dependent on public funding.
I think that is using, these resources in the best way possible, building up our community.
And so I think eventually that will assure this program's survival long beyond my time around in public service, but also future generations will have it forever to count on.
It's such a great work, that SHINE is doing. So I encourage everybody, to take part in it.
SHINE, just by sometimes just giving you the opportunity to clean something up one day, gives you a sense of accomplishment, a sense of contributing to the community, and starts to show you what it would look like to live a life that you can be proud of.
And obviously, the folks that have participated in it would be the true shining stars of it.
When an individual finishes their work with SHINE, they can physically see the change of what they've contributed. They're actually putting hands into changing the environment, changing the culture.
Knowing overall that this is legacy building as well as uplifting and benefiting an entire community just makes it one of the most enriching experiences you can ever be a part of.